Dear Leo, bright flame of the zodiac. Have you felt lately that someone is watching you not with love, but with hidden intentions? Have you sensed eyes behind the curtain, energy pressing in from places you can't quite name? If so, stay with me. You didn't find this video by accident. The truth is, two people are setting a trap for you, and it's time you see exactly who and why. You've landed here not through coincidence, but because the universe knows you're ready. You're ready to stop dimming your light just to make others comfortable. You're ready to see beyond appearances and walk boldly toward the truth, no matter how inconvenient it may be. And above all, you're ready to break free. Here at Eternal Mindfulness, we don't do surface-level astrology. We look deeper. We listen to the whispers between the stars, and right now, they're shouting. Leo, your energy is shifting. Something inside you is waking up. The person you are no longer fits the shape of your soul. You feel it, don't you? A tension between who you've been and who you're becoming. That tension isn't wrong. It's transformation. You're at the edge of a powerful turning point, one that involves more than just your career, your love life, or your finances. This is about your freedom. Two energies around you, one masculine, one feminine, are not cheering for your growth. They are studying you. Smiling, maybe. Pretending to help. But underneath, they fear what you might become without their control. And Leo, control is not your destiny. Liberation is. In the coming moments, I'll walk you through the signs, symbols, and sacred guidance that reveal who these individuals are and how you can reclaim your power without confrontation, without fear, without becoming like them. You were born under the sign of the lion, not to be caged, but to roam with purpose and pride. If you've been feeling like something's off, if your dreams have turned strange, your body tense in familiar places, or certain people from your past keep resurfacing just as you're about to make a big move, this message is for you. The trap is energetic. It's emotional. And it's time to strike just before your breakthrough. Before we go deeper, let me say this: thank you. Truly. For every like, every comment, every share, and every subscription, you're not just supporting this channel. You're becoming part of a soul family that's devoted to bringing light to shadowed places. Your presence fuels this work, and it allows me to continue bringing these messages to those who are ready to awaken. Now, Leo, the first, know you feel it. That this is more than just a reading. That this is your soul nodding yes. So before we continue, take a moment to ground yourself, and if what I've said so far resonates with you, leave a comment that says, "I claim my power," to anchor this truth into your reality. Let me know you're ready to see what the universe is about to reveal. Because trust me, you will want to stay with me until the very end. What's coming next isn't just guidance. It's a revelation. And it might just change everything. What you're experiencing right now, Leo, is not simply chaos. It's sacred movement. It's the echo of an ancient truth that nothing evolves without first unraveling. When everything familiar begins to shift, your career, your home, your relationships, even the way your body holds emotion, it can feel like something is breaking. But from a deeper perspective, something is actually being cleared. These changes are not random. They are the natural rhythm of a life that's ready to grow beyond what it once believed was possible. The discomfort you feel isn't a sign you're lost. It's a sign you've outgrown the version of yourself that was shaped by old wounds, outdated roles, and external expectations. You see, every soul comes to a threshold where the past cannot walk with us into the future, not because it wasn't meaningful, but because it has already taught us what we needed to learn. In these moments of transition, life becomes a mirror. It reflects not just who you've been, but who you're being asked to become. And you, Leo, are being asked to become more honest, more luminous, and more aligned with your inner truth. Transformation doesn't shout. It whispers through the tension in your chest, the impulse to leave places that no longer feel alive, the desire to say what you've been silencing. And perhaps most importantly, it shows up in how others react to your rising. When your light begins to grow stronger, those who depend on your shadows may try to dim it, not because they are evil, but because your evolution threatens their comfort. This is not your burden to carry. Your only responsibility is to keep choosing what's real over what's familiar, what's free over what's safe, what's true over what's convenient. Just like the lotus emerges from the mud not in spite of the dirt, but because of it, your power will rise from what has felt uncertain. The moment you stop resisting the shift and instead soften into it, something extraordinary happens. Clarity unfolds. Not all at once, but gently. Like morning light revealing the shape of a new horizon. You're not being destroyed. You're being remade. And this time, it's on your terms. When life brings you to a crossroads, it rarely does so with clarity and calm. More often, it appears as confusion, the pulling of your heart in two directions, the tightening of your chest when someone speaks with a familiar voice, the guilt that creeps in when you begin to outgrow the people or places you once called home. Leo, this is not a mistake. This is what it looks like when your loyalty is being tested, not to others, but to yourself. The reversed sun and the tower together tell a story that many fear to hear, that some structures must fall so that your true light can rise. And often, the most resistant structures are not made of stone or wood, but of emotional obligation, the kind rooted in nostalgia, in shared memories, in people who once protected you, but now subtly restrain you. You may find yourself feeling responsible for their feelings, their reactions, even their healing. But let me ask you gently, at what cost? There's a truth here that can feel uncomfortable. Not everyone who once loved you is meant to walk beside your next chapter. Some will sense your expansion and respond with kindness, others with manipulation dressed as care. They may say they miss you. They may remind you of who you used to be. But if you listen closely, what they fear is not losing you, it's losing the version of you they could influence. That is the quiet danger the cards are pointing toward. In times like these, remember, compassion does not require sacrifice. Walking away from what no longer nourishes you is not betrayal, it is a form of wisdom. Just as a tree must shed its leaves to survive the winter, you must release the ties that bind you in order to step into the full truth of your becoming. The number 8 speaks to your inner power, the cycle of contraction and expansion, endings and rebirth. And the copper-orange hue isn't just a color, it's a reminder to act with clarity, with warmth, but without apology. True integrity isn't about staying where you've always been. It's about knowing when the season has changed, and having the courage to change with it. Even when others don't understand. Even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. Sometimes the heaviest weight we carry doesn't come from the people who've hurt us, but from the objects that remain after they're gone. A necklace, a photo, a handwritten note beautiful on the surface, but echoing with an energy we can't quite explain. Leo, your open heart has always made it easy to hold on, even when something deep inside you whispers it's time to let go. The Devil and the Seven of Wands in this reading don't speak of danger in the obvious sense. They speak of a subtler trap, the emotional residue hidden in what was once meaningful. Memory is powerful. It can build bridges to healing, but it can also anchor us to a version of ourselves that no longer exists. When we hold on to gifts or symbols from past relationships that have ended in pain or confusion, we may unknowingly keep ourselves tied to that frequency. You may notice you feel drained in certain spaces, or that clarity escapes you when you look at a particular object. These aren't coincidences. Energy imprints, especially those tied to guilt, longing, or fear, tend to linger where we least expect them, in the sentimental. There's a simple truth often taught quietly that release is a form of kindness. Not just to others, but to yourself. When we clean our space with presence, when we mindfully decide what stays and what goes, we are declaring what kind of life we are now ready to live. The number 5 carries the vibration of freedom through movement, the kind that isn't always loud, but is always real. Removing what no longer aligns with your peace isn't an act of rejection. It's a soft, powerful affirmation that your healing matters. So pay attention to how your body reacts around certain items. If your breath shortens, if you feel inexplicably uneasy, listen. There's intelligence in that awareness. Allow yourself the quiet ritual of renewal, whether it's bathing a cherished item in moonlight, washing it in salt water, or simply thanking it and letting it go. Silver white and light green tones support this cleansing, reminding you that healing doesn't always require force. Sometimes, it just asks for presence. And a single, gentle decision, to lighten your load. Not all threats arrive with loud voices or obvious betrayal. Sometimes, they come wrapped in warmth, cloaked in shared memories, and softened by the tone of someone who once felt safe. Leo, when the Queen of Wands appears reversed alongside the Ten of Swords, it signals a very specific kind of energy drain, one that doesn't storm in from the outside, but seeps in from within the familiar. It's the slow erosion of your clarity, your confidence, your fire, caused not by direct harm, but by the subtle weight of emotional expectations placed on your shoulders by someone you once trusted. There may be a person in your life, possibly someone close, whose words sound supportive on the surface but leave you feeling small, conflicted, or even guilty for growing. They may not explicitly discourage you, but their tone, timing, or quiet disapproval causes you to second-guess yourself. This is emotional manipulation in one of its most complex forms, not cruel, not obvious, but deeply destabilizing. When someone makes you feel like you need permission to live in your full expression, what they are really doing is keeping your energy small so they can stay comfortable. The deeper truth is this: success that comes with guilt is not real success. And love that requires you to shrink is not love at all. What's being asked of you now is the kind of inner maturity that doesn't seek approval to do what you know is right. The number 6 in numerology speaks to this exact challenge, the quiet reckoning that often happens within family, legacy, or long-standing emotional ties. It invites you to choose inner harmony over inherited obligation. There is a way to say no without bitterness. There is a way to reclaim your space without burning bridges. It starts by noticing how your body reacts in certain conversations, the tightness in your stomach, the hesitation in your voice, the subtle pull to dim your light. These are signs. Honor them. Wearing deep violet, a color of sovereignty and inner trust, can be a gentle, visual way to remind yourself that your worth doesn't require validation. The moment you allow your truth to stand without needing permission, you begin to rewrite the story of power, not against others, but in harmony with your own. Financial flow is not only about effort, it's about alignment. Leo, you were never meant to work endlessly just to feel worthy of receiving. But somewhere along the way, someone's voice, perhaps stern, disappointed, or controlling, made its way into your internal dialogue. Maybe it came from a parent who equated love with achievement, or from a moment when your success made others uncomfortable, and they projected their own limitations onto you. Over time, that voice became your own, whispering doubt just as you were about to rise. The Five of Pentacles paired with the Ace of Swords reveals this blockage not as a lack of ability, but as a deeply rooted misbelief that abundance is something you must earn by overgiving, overproving, or overextending. But the truth is more compassionate than that. Prosperity is not a reward for suffering. It's the natural outcome of honoring your energy and making choices from clarity. When you accept that you are inherently deserving, not because of your productivity, but because of your presence, you begin to shift your entire frequency. This is where the law of attraction aligns with ancient teachings. What you believe, you reinforce. What you expect, you invite. If you quietly hold the belief that, "I'm not ready," or "I don't deserve more," then even the most genuine opportunities will struggle to take root in your field. This is why rebuilding your internal foundation, represented by the number 4, is so important now. It's not about chasing more. It's about becoming the kind of person who knows how to receive without apology. Like a well that only fills when the ground below is strong, your financial life is asking for stability, not sacrifice. Begin with a simple act of presence. Write, speak, or think the affirmation, "I am worthy of receiving with ease," until it feels less like a mantra and more like a memory returning home. Color carries frequency, and rose gold, warm, open, generous, can serve as a subtle companion during this time. It reminds you that true wealth flows when your giving is balanced by receiving, when your action is guided by insight, and when your self-worth is not tied to struggle but rooted in quiet self-respect. The sword in your hand now is not for defense. It is for truth. Use it to cut away the doubt that never belonged to you. There's a quiet kind of leadership that doesn't demand attention, but leaves a lasting imprint, not through declarations, but through presence. Leo, in this stage of your journey, you may not even realize the impact you're having on those around you. Someone younger, perhaps a family member, a student, or even a quiet observer in your daily life, is watching you navigate challenge and transformation. They are not looking for perfection. They are looking for honesty, resilience, and a reflection of what's possible beyond hardship. The Strength card and the Star remind us that healing isn't just personal, it's generational. When you rise with grace, when you keep walking even when the path is unclear, you become a mirror of possibility. You model what it looks like to stay soft without being weak, to stay open without being naive. And that is powerful beyond words. This is the true essence of legacy, not just what we achieve, but how we move through life when no one applauds, when the inner battles are unseen. That subtle transmission of strength becomes a flame for others to carry. In ancient thought, there's the idea that our actions ripple beyond our lifetime, that what we choose today shapes the consciousness of those who follow. When we live aligned with what we value, we teach by example. But more than that, we liberate others to live that way too. That's why now is the time to reflect deeply. What 3 values do you want to be remembered for? Not titles or accolades, but the qualities of heart you offer to the world. Integrity, compassion, courage, truth, name them, and begin to embody them more intentionally. The number 9 signals completion, not as an end, but as a return, a moment to shed what no longer serves so your essence can lead. Ruby red holds that frequency of inner fire. Not the fire that burns wildly, but the fire that glows steady, illuminating the path for others. It's the light of a soul who knows where it stands and offers that certainty as a refuge. You may not have chosen to be a guide, Leo, but your courage has made you one. And now, your presence is the lesson. Leo, the time has come to remember who you truly are. Not the version of you that's been shaped by old stories, other people's expectations, or past wounds, but the radiant soul underneath it all. You are not here to remain trapped in cycles of guilt, silence, or self-denial. You are here to lead yourself home. What you've heard in this message today isn't just information. It's a mirror. A quiet, powerful reflection of the strength you've always carried and perhaps forgotten under the weight of trying to please or survive. You don't owe your light to those who once dimmed it. You don't need to explain your healing to people who only recognized your worth when you were easy to carry. What you do owe, what you deeply deserve, is your own permission to evolve. Your right to walk away from old roles. Your freedom to build new ones that match the wisdom you've earned. That's the path of a soul who leads, even when no one else understands. And that, Leo, is your gift to the world. So I invite you now to pause and ask yourself, what will I no longer carry from this day forward? What outdated belief, lingering relationship, or inner voice am I finally ready to release with grace, not resentment? And equally important, what new energy am I ready to welcome? Is it peace? Courage? Financial ease? Self-respect? A healthier sense of boundaries? You get to choose. You always have. The steps may seem small, but they matter. Writing down an affirmation every morning. Cleansing your space. Saying no with kindness but certainty. Wearing a color that reminds you of your inner power. Reflecting on your values and actually living them. These are not spiritual accessories, they are acts of devotion to your future self. They are how you stop waiting to be saved and start living as the source. So now I turn it to you, Leo. What part of this message spoke directly to your heart? What shift are you ready to commit to today? Leave me a comment and let me know. Write, I choose to be the light, to anchor this decision not just in thought, but into the fabric of your daily life. Thank you, truly, for being here. For sharing your time, your presence, and your energy with eternal mindfulness. Your support, every like, every comment, every share and subscription allows this channel to continue offering guidance that doesn't just predict the future, but empowers you to shape it. This isn't just a reading. It's a remembering. And I promise you, Leo, the more you walk in your truth, the less you'll need to seek validation. Because you'll finally realize, the light you've been waiting for was always coming from within. If this message touched something in you, don't leave in silence. Subscribe so you never miss a moment of cosmic alignment. Like this video to keep its energy moving forward. And share it with another Leo who might need this light today, because your healing becomes someone else's permission. You are not here to be controlled. You are not here to be small. You are here to shine. Boldly. Unapologetically. And entirely on your own terms.